So you get your energy from other people. You're an extrovert, like me and Alysha.
Just because you're somebody who's comfortable being high energy and fun doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be good on camera. So let's talk about why extroverts are good on YouTube and maybe some of the challenges they might face. So when you think of an extrovert, you might think of somebody who's really outgoing, but that's not necessarily what it means. It means that it's somebody who gets their energy from other people, right? Introverts are really good at getting the energy from themselves, whereas extroverts need other people to kind of like hype them up and get them excited.
So one of the challenges that's presented when you're filming YouTube videos as an extrovert is, where are you getting your energy from when you're offering yourself in the video? This is something that I feel like I'm mostly a film actor. I've done acting in film and television for many years. I've never done theater, but I do perform for live audiences as a musician. But this is something that, like, there's a big discrepancy in film actors and like theater actors, the differences of like where you get your energy, because when you're in theater and you have a live audience, you get that reaction, you get that feedback from people, versus being in film, you have the camera that you're performing
Just
to.
a big black hole you're staring at.
Right.
No one's reacting to you. No one's laughing at your hilarious jokes. So you just have to sort of suck it up and go, okay, I gotta pull that energy out, even if nobody's gonna respond to me, which can be really difficult.
It can be intimidating. It can be, especially, you know, coming from the background of being a performer, like an actor, like I'm usually working with another actor in front of a camera and like I've got eye contact and we've got feedback and whatever. I can pull from there. But if I'm speaking to the camera, that black hole of the lens can be really intimidating. So something that can be really helpful when you're starting your YouTube channel is either working with a producer or a videographer who can offer you some of that validation, that feedback, not during the takes, because obviously if you're chatting with the camera, they can't be chatting right back at you, but somebody behind the scenes who can be your ally can be really, really helpful as you're getting going.
I also like to just imagine who's behind that camera. I think that's really helpful for me, is I just like picture a certain person in my head and I just feel like I'm presenting to them, so that I don't feel like I'm presenting to a camera. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about my cousin Hannah and we're having a conversation and this is how I would be with her. And so then I'm able to kind of imagine how she would react to me and then be able to draw a lot of that fun and upbeat personality from that.
Something that's also helpful for me is remembering the message that I'm sharing, really getting back into that why, the heart of it. What's the purpose behind this video? It goes really well with the idea of considering the person that you're speaking to, your target audience, or, you know, that person that you're trying to connect with. If you really sink into the message, into the why, into that human connection, into the reasons that you decided to start a YouTube channel, hopefully there's something that you're offering there. You have value, you have a message in your heart that you feel like is worth sharing, that you know is going to touch people and going to connect with people. You think about that viewer and suddenly you get this kind of, it's esoteric. It's a vibrational energy back at you because you know that you're offering value, and then you can receive some of that back.
I think another trick in order to find some energy in the room is to do a video with somebody, right? Maybe you don't like to do videos by yourself because you're like, I don't feel like I'm talking to anybody, and then you get stiff and weird and awkward. But if you find somebody who you can play off of, that can be really helpful. We can laugh, we can joke, and as she's saying something, I'm like, oh, that sparks an idea. If you're feeling like having somebody behind the camera isn't enough, because unfortunately, they can't vocalize their laugh. I might be just hilarious and Allie is like, wow, hilarious, but she can't say that or laugh out loud. And I think sometimes people are almost like a little shocked at first. They're like, am I not funny? Like, am I making you uncomfortable? And it's like, I can't laugh at your jokes or it's gonna ruin your video.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be really weird in the edit if you have like producers in the background.
Yeah, learning to live with the
discomfort?
The discomfort, yeah, the weight, the heaviness of what you just said, or maybe the joke, like laying it out there and knowing that somebody on the other side of a computer screen or a phone screen is laughing at you, even if you're not getting that in the room. You just have to always remember that the point of this is connection, you know? When you are filming something on your phone, walking around and talking to your phone, sometimes it's easy to do it with the phone because you can see your own human face. Sometimes when you're working with like a DSLR camera, it can be even harder because it really is. It's just this black void. But when you really sink into the fact that you are connecting with another human being and you're sharing an important message, it just makes it so much easier to get some of that extrovert energy out of it.
But I do think extroverts do have sort of this advantage in the fact that they tend to be a lot more comfortable right away of just being like, I'm going to be me, and it's okay to just be a little bit louder and crazier than maybe an introvert would be.
We're okay being in the spotlight.
Well, true.
Most of the time.
We thrive off of that, right?
Yeah.
Like I also grew up performing, and I loved having like people just cheering for me in the audience and like feeding off of that energy. So being in the spotlight is okay. But we did do another video on what introverts are good at and how they could be good on camera, because ultimately I don't think it matters if you are an introvert or an extrovert. I think everybody can be good at this. It just takes a few things to get there, maybe.
Yeah, there are inherent strengths to both. Something that's also important to remember as an extrovert, as somebody who maybe enjoys human attention, it's important that you put yourself out there with the intention of giving versus receiving. And in some ways, it's great practice to not have somebody on the receiving end of your YouTube video, because you can really sit with the heaviness of what you're saying. You can sit with the discomfort, and if you're not giving value, you're gonna feel it in yourself.
Another thing that a lot of times extroverts think is like, I'm fun, I'm loud, I'm comfortable, so I can just go into a video and say whatever I want and it's gonna be interesting. You still wanna make sure you're taking the time to prep your content and plan your content and have a good idea of what you're gonna say so that you are taking your viewer on a real journey. You're not just showing up and being like, they're gonna like this video because I'm fun to watch.
Because I'm in it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that whole idea of ego across the board just has to go out the window in every part of YouTube. You have to just show up and, again, like she said, just give value. And sometimes that means going out of your comfort zone and sitting down and being a little introverted and writing everything out.
We've helped a number of clients with their YouTube channels who are pretty extroverted people. They're super fun when we're talking, chatting, getting ready, getting set up. And then as soon as they get on camera, they freeze up because they're not getting that feedback or whatever it is that causes them to freeze up. Something that's really helpful that we've applied to our clients, that I've learned to apply to myself, is the act of getting in your body. It's all about loosening up, being a little more comfortable. You know, make sure your posture is good.
Relax your
make sure,
shoulders.
make sure you feel like, do your vocal exercises, do some vocalizations, be loud before you do your video. And in between videos, sometimes on these long filming days, I have to roll on the ground or like dance it out or do something crazy. But I feel like that's something that extroverts especially need. It's a way to feel
build
like
that energy, right?
Yeah, build it up
within yourself. Yeah. You might also just need to get a little bit creative. So we had a client as well who he was like, I just need some interaction. And so we found a way that he would bring us into the video by having us like nod the camera. And it was kind of silly, but it worked for him. And it helped him be able to interact with the audience in a way that brought him from that stiff, uncomfortable place to being able to be more himself. And then after a while, we didn't have to do it anymore because he got more comfortable, you know, speaking to that black hole of awesomeness.
So we've talked a little bit about some of the challenges of being an extrovert on YouTube. Honestly, one of the gifts and one of the reasons that you're going to be so good at this if you are an extrovert is because you're charming. You're fun. You love people. If you glean energy from other people, you are going to do such a good job offering that energy to others on YouTube.
Yeah, it's going to come across as so easy and comfortable. You're going to be able to connect really well with people. People are going to be naturally drawn to who you are, which is really great because a lot of times, we've talked about in other videos, people get on YouTube or any other social platform and they like become somebody they're not. And nobody should do that, introvert or extrovert. But especially if you already have that big personality, then it's gonna be a lot easier for you to just be genuine and be who you are. If you've been thinking about doing a YouTube channel for a while, but you're just not quite sure how to get started, we have a free course in the description box below, so click that link. It's the top 10 things that you need to know before you start a YouTube channel. And of course, make sure that you subscribe as well. We are your video allies. You've got this, we've got your back, and we cannot wait to see what kind of extroverted, amazing content you create.